Was good. 3. Yes. We are on a roll. So, oh, excuse me. I had a little burp. So first we went over some of the nomenclature that we'll be working on the face, which will be the jaw, or should I say the masseter here. Talked about the mandible here. Talked about the sternocleidomastoids, which is our long neck muscle, which pretty much does a lot of our turning in some respects, turning, in, turning, in, turning of our head. That's there was another piece that the skull itself. Yeah. The skull, the cranium, the brain box also, which pretty much houses all of our facial muscles and stuff like that we have here on our face. So to kick this off, like I said, we have our tools that we will be using to massage ourselves, which is simply the chair in our hands. Yes. Yes. So usually when I kick off massaging my face, I usually start off from the top part of the forehead here and just kind of go around where the eyebrows is. We have our, what do you call this here? Our eye socket in some respects. Pretty much going in the direction of that eye socket and moving my way up towards the top part of my forehead and just kind of elongating these whole areas. I'm using like the tips of my fingers here to go about this, and like at the same time as I'm pushing into my forehead, I'm also pushing my head into my hands. So it's again this proprioceptive process of massaging my face. So I'm meeting my hands and like drawing or pushing into my face, which actually gives me a lot more pressure on these areas of my head. Now you can go into a backwards way and kind of getting on the forehead and kind of getting some of these little tensions and see if you can find some areas that cause you some tension. Me usually like in the center part here, I usually get some tensions and stuff like that. This part here, actually, I'm starting to feel some radiating pains that's going out onto this other side of my head. So again, just keeping your awareness of where these sensations are coming about, and when you find these sensations, to zero in on them and start to notice what they're saying to you, so to speak. There's inside the eye socket here, which this is like a beautiful spot. It's actually an acupressure point. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but sitting inside of the eye socket, inside at the top portion of the eye here, it should be right underneath your eyebrow. There's like these little rivets and divots on that inner side of the eye. And if you, push your head down like this and allow your head to sit on your thumb, like so. Yeah, that's it. You can, it kind of radiates all through my eyes right now, and it's a very potent spot. You can sometimes while my elbows are kind of sitting down on the chair right here, and you can just kind of, Jesus, you can just allow that tension to run all over the top part of the head. It's a really good position just to kind of get some, I guess you could say, clarity out of your eyes. It kind of helps alleviate some of the tension out of your eyes. So like, especially like when you're tired or something like that, you can come here and just kind of wipe some of that stuff off, and it'll help you out. Like usually, like, you know, if you see people like wiping their eyes a lot like this, because I do this sometimes when I'm tired, it's these gestures that we normally do throughout the day are telling us something. Like there's tension in your face. It's trying to tell you that you might need to get this tension out of your face. Oh man, I'm so tired. Oh, no. Like, what are you doing? You're massaging your face when you do that. Think about it. It's a natural gesture. So your body is naturally trying to tell you you got too much tension in your face. Get rid of it. Anyway, so in the same, like around the whole eye socket, you can go into the bottom parts area too See if you can find some little interesting areas to dig into. You can make some little funny faces. And inside here, where the top part of the nose or the nasal bone is, you can kind of dig into here and find some pretty interesting spots. And like kind of wiggle your way down your nose. And you start getting into the sinuses a little bit here as you're moving outward from your face. Just like the same part when I was coming over here and moving outwards, you come here and move outwards. And you start getting into the cheekbones. You go downwards into the cheekbones, you'll be running into the masseters. You go above it, you'll be in the eye socket. So just depending on which direction you want to go, or you can sit on the top of the cheekbone and just kind of run out on the cheekbone itself. Yeah? Inside here where the sinuses are, that's a good place to kind of work out and kind of clear out your sinuses a little bit. You might begin to tear up a little bit if you're working inside this area. And like, as I'm going through this, I'm putting a pretty decent amount of pressure in here because again, like I am meeting my hands. It's not just me pressing in here, it's my head and my hands are meeting together to push into and deepen inside these muscles, yeah? So here, especially if getting on those little eye bags right here is a good place to work into. You can roll out into the outer portions of the eye socket here where the temple is. And this is like a pretty good connecting point to where you start to roll into the jaw. So even if you have jaw or like you getting tension in the jaw, you can actually start to begin to work on it from this area here and kind of stretching up, so to speak. And that's the direction I usually tend to go into. Yes? So underneath the cheekbone, we start to dig into the masseter. And this, like, as far as the amount of pressure I need to really dig into the masseter, it takes a lot because it's a very strong muscle. Like your jaw is a very strong muscle. So what I tend to do with actually getting into my masseters, I would lay my head down this way, just like I'm just kind of watching the sky. Oh man, it's a nice day out. But like as I'm laying into my hand, again, I am pushing up and my head is going down. And I'm sinking my head down. Oh God, there it goes. Until like the meaty part of the masseter. And like I can feel like my saliva's kind of brewing up on that side of my face right now. It's pretty wild. And there's usually a radiating pain that's coming up here into my head. Particularly when I start to get side headaches, this is usually where I go on the jaw and just, oh God, and just kind of work in there a little bit. See these little undulations I have on my palm right now, just kind of moving and stretching out that jaw. To help it out, sometimes you can actually open your mouth as well, kind of get into some different areas of the jaw and going side to side to get a little bit of cross friction on there. But you can spend a lot of time just simply working out this jaw area in of itself. It's a very good area to work. And when it comes to, man, let me kind of get my bearing about myself a little bit. So coming into here, coming into this back part of the lower mandible of the jawbone, I tend to come in like this on the back side of my jaw here. And I'm kind of sitting on the edge of my jaw right there. It's like a nice little cupping area. And here, it's usually like kind of like almost where the top part of my ear is. I can kind of feel where that tension kind of rolls into. And you can just kind of sit in this little part of your head and just kind of squeeze your hands together on your jaw. There's a lot of good tension. A lot of good tension to work out in this back part of your jaw. So make it like, but it feels really good. And of course, you can run your way all the way down to the bottom part of your jawbone. You don't forget about the upper areas of where your nose is here, inside the top parts. You can kind of work inside here as well, where this little line starts to run out from your cheekbones. That's a pretty good place to work. On top of the fact, that same position that I was telling you about with the jawbone, it's the same thing that I use also for the sternocleidomastoids. I just kind of sit my neck there, and like the weight of my head is actually providing the pressure to actually dig into that side of SCM. So again, once I find a good position, and I just lay my elbow on the table or on the chair, and just kind of allow myself to sink into it a little bit more. And as I get deeper, I start to feel the pressure from that sternocleidomastoid. It's actually kind of going up into my mastoid right now, towards the top part of my head. I can feel that really, really good, and it's digging in. So again, once you get into that good position, just kind of move around in it. You can kind of sink down a little bit more, or just kind of just see where your pains are. And once you find that position, sit there where that tension is running out. Right now, this little position is kind of rolling into the top part of my head on the back, which is kind of strange. Really strange, but it feels good. It feels good. And the same, like with those proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation stretches. If you want to stretch out your neck, especially, you can use your hands for such things. Kind of, once you find a good position where you or have your most stretch, just put some energy back into where you're going. And you don't necessarily have to do the little countdown 10 through 1 or whatever. You can just kind of like allow your strength to tell you when it's good to let go. And you can play around or provide tension, energy to these positions, so that the isometricness of like the contraction that you're creating here, you're building strength in this position, so that it's not a task for your body to move your neck down in this range of motion. And the same that you will be doing for the other side too. Just put a little bit of tension in there and just kind of allow yourself to build some strength in this position, right? And you can play around with it too, just depending on how good you get with it, to keep that same level of tension and strengthen your ends, the ends of your range of motion. Because by strengthening the ends, where the tendons and the ligaments are, you strengthen the beginning. The ends strengthen the center, if you will. So if you have strength in your ligaments, you will have strength in the muscle. And that's kind of where my workouts tend to go, is more strengthening the tendons and the ligaments, because that's what's holding me up in the beginning, right? And if there's strength in the beginning, there's strength in the end. And if there's strength in the end, there's automatically strength in the moment, right? So you don't even have to think about your moment, because you know that you have strength in the beginning and the end. Wow, concept. Either way. So I just wanted to get ready to get it on for this video. Just went over a quick little massage that you can do for your face. Starting from the forehead, working to the eye sockets, work around the bottom parts of the eye sockets, going into the cheekbone, digging down into the masseters, going across the mandible, and then working into our sternocleidomastoids. So it's just like this nice little, rain down of the face by doing a face massage that you can use as a template to work out your face. And believe me, at any point in the time of the day, you can always just sit down and massage your face, or as you're watching on Zoom, or like as we're all sheltered in place and we got to sit here and just like look at this video screen all day long. Boop. Get that jaw work in, you know what I mean? Straight up. So yeah, man, I'm glad y'all came through. I hope this video helps you as much as it helps me. And I will hope to see y'all next week, where we'll start talking about the chesticles and outwards to the arms, yeah? So I released this video saying, this is Corey, your friendly neighborhood massage technician, bringing your life, love, and liberation. This is Healing Tones. We come on here, bless you with some words, poetry, prose, with hopes that it brings a light, blessing, or good feeling to your day. So, peace, family.